Hey y'all, it's Abby with Abby Reviews. I just did my review for Real World, and I feel like I need a palate cleanser. Um, so we're gonna go watch another episode of Dallas. I feel like that's what I need to tickle my spirit, so I don't feel like fighting the air like that little boy from Boys in the Hood. Cause that episode, the ending of that episode, just it took I had to go to God in prayer for a minute. So we are going to truck right along to season 1, episode 11. I don't even know what the name of the episode is called. I haven't even pulled the episode up, but we're going to watch it now together in my beautiful onesie from Fenty. While we figure out dinner, cause ain't no watch night service anymore, cause virtual Omicron Simwakusa is messing it up for everybody. So let's jump into the, shall we? Now, this episode is called Double Wedding. I don't know who's getting married because only people who's eligible to get married is Lucy, Ray, and Cliff Barnes. Because everybody else is married. So I don't know. I don't. We gonna see. Let's see what happens, Jesus. Okay, so it starts off with Bobby and Pam, and she's rubbing his back, and they still talking about the job shit. How long y'all gonna drag it out? Is she gonna get the job or not? Like, what are you doing? And then we fast forward to some man sitting outside of Digger Barnes' house, which is Pam's daddy, and he has this newspaper article about the Ewan family doing something at a charity something something, and it's a picture with Pam and Bobby in it. And then he goes up to the door of Digger Barnes' house as the nurse aide is leaving for the day, and she said, he's like, "Is Pam Barnes here?" And she was like, "No." Um, he's like, "Well, can I talk to her?" And she was like, "Do you know she's married? I don't know. Are you selling encyclopedias? What you need to talk to her?" I'm with the nurse. What you need to talk to her about? Why you here? And he was like, "Oh no, I'm an old friend, blah blah blah." And she was like, "Well, she's a Ewing now. She lives on South Fork, so you're gonna have to go out there." So we cut to breakfast with the family, and they talking about Jock is slowly trying to recover his strength from that heart attack he had, Jesus. And so Lucy shows her horridness. They talking about this project, some uh construction project for the church committee for a home for wayward boys, and then Lucy, Sue Ellen is trying to ignore Lucy because she's still pissed about the baby situation. I'm sure she's figured out about the baby situation, that it was Lucy who told it. And she's like, "Can I visit?" And Sue Ellen's like, "Visit what?" And she was like, "The home for wayward boys." If you don't sit your whore ass down, everybody's giggling. That ain't okay. That little girl needs counseling, serious counseling. Not Jock calling Bobby wishy washy. Not to call him wishy washy, cause he said first you Bobby was like, "Listen, I'm gonna carve out. I deserve the right to carve out my own place and what I want to do in this life, and because I want to do it, not because it's a family business or whatever." And he was like, "Well, you got married to Pam. She talked you into coming into the office and run you an oil company, and then you dabbled in ranching, and now this construction." He like, "So what's it gonna be?" He's like, "Whatever it's gonna be, it's gonna be." I need smaller lashes. It's gonna be whatever it's gonna be, and that's what it's gonna be. We gonna see. Bobby done got the big dick energy. He done listen. He like, "I'm not gonna keep doing this with you, sir." Not Digger Barnes, drunk ass, barely being able to walk, but he done made it to the bar, and his little drunk friends is outside waiting for him. Like, "Where you been, homie? So glad you're here. You want some of this liquor?" He's sitting outside with a bottle of brown paper bag. Digger's like, "Oh no, I just got off a 4 day pay. I got 4 days worth of pay. We finna get us some real drinks. Come on in here to this bar. I'm gonna buy you a drink. We gonna finna get lit up." Now back to Bobby and his first construction job for these church people. These church people are jackasses. The church people is like, just so you know, there are other people. Hold on. All right, so church people are jackasses. Did I say that? Did I say the church people were jackasses? Because they're jackasses. Um, talk about the pastor talk about just because y'all donated this land don't mean you gonna be the one. Other people is bidding on um doing this project, and he's like, I was aware of that. Then the one bro, it's supposed to be a home for wayward boys. This bitch said, I don't see no bars on the windows. Bitch, it's a home for wayward boys, not a zoo. What the fuck is you talking? Okay, madam, ma'am, if you could be bothered, if you could just go to hell, that would be amazing. Just go straight to hell. Then the preacher says, well, Bobby, I ain't seen you or your wife at church lately. What does that got to do with this bit? He's like, let me show you where we're going to put the channel. Cause this is what I can't do this with you people. They're idiots. Not Digger Barnes and drink up all of his liquor, all his money. Like, what are y'all doing up there? Not he didn't drink up all of his money, and just when the bartender is like, no, that was your last call for alcohol because you ain't got no money. This strange white man that was sitting outside of his house says, oh, uh, I'll buy his drink and make me a double. And then they start talking about, he starts reminiscing about his daughter, and the man is just trying to get information so he can figure out where the hell Pam is so he can push up on her, is my guess. Cha. Digger Barnes don't even know, his drunk ass don't even know he tell all his daughter's business to a person who's stalking her. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Not the man. Digger is walking on a slant. Digger is walking on a legit slant in this picture. Somebody come get this man. Not the stalker bribed his way into Digger's house with more liquor. Then he done showed up at the store where Pam works to stalk her down. And Pam don't even know who this nigga is. He done walked up on her. He was like, Pamela. And she was like, yes. And he was like, don't you know who I am? She's like, no, who are you? He's like, you should know. I'm your husband. Pam was like, what the fuck are you talking? What are you even talking about, sir? What? No. I don't. Sorry to this man. I wouldn't know this man if he walked up on me I'm sorry to this man. Not her calling this nigga by name. Wait a minute. I paused too quickly. She said, she took a minute and then she's like, Ed? When I say that gave me very much Lion King and the hyenas. It's like, Ed? Okay, so here's what happened. She was underage and ran off with this Ed Haynes character to Mexico, and they got married. It was legal for her to marry at whatever age it was in Mexico. The next day, he got shipped off to Vietnam, that is. And she got the marriage annulled. So she like, nigga, you're not my husband. What are you talking about? But this man was in Vietnam prison camps and was tortured and shit. This nigga got PTSD and he came home and his mind wasn't right and he had to get himself together. So he never knew that the marriage was annulled. So as far as he concerned, they still married. You still my wife. And Pam was like, I'm not your wife. I haven't been your wife. I'm someone else's wife now. What are you talking about? And he was like, well, we'll give it some. He tried to touch her. She was like, what? Oh, what you, bruh, listen. I know you got PTSD and everything from the war, but it's been 10 years, bruh. You don't touch me. Do not touch me. And he was like, oh yeah, we'll give it some. This nigga is living in La La Land. Talk about, I'm still in love with you, but you've been gone. You've been missing in action for 10 years, sir. 10 big years. You've been gone. You were expecting me to still be, what? If you don't go to hell and get out my face. Okay, so Pam is freaked out. So she goes to talk to her brother, and he's like, I don't remember nothing about this, sis, so I don't know what you want me to do. And he was like, you were married for 20 minutes. There's got to be. She was like, and then I had it annulled. And she was like, well, if it was annulled, he didn't get the annulment papers. Fine. There's got to be. It's a public record. Go down to the records office, get a copy. And she was like, okay. He's like, but you can't because they're closed now. And she freaks out. She's like, I know I need it tonight. And he was like, why? Does Bobby not know? And you want papers in hand before you tell him? Yes. Yes. So Cliff, being the smart one, says, let's go to Aunt Maggie's house. Since she's the one who did the annulment pay procedure, she'll have a copy. We'll get it from her. So they're off to Aunt Maggie's house. Meanwhile, Ed Haynes' stupid ass, instead of waiting to hear back from Pam, he done went up to Ewing Oil, talk about he need to see Mr. Ewing. It's about Mrs. Ewing. He gonna run into JR with this information, and JR is going to do what he always does, is pull the shenanigans and the stunts. JR is a stunt queen if I ever seen one, Jesus. But here we go. So I still don't understand what Ed Haynes thought going to the office was going to do. You're married to my wife, and so what you think? She's just a piece of cake that I'm gonna give back to you? What like I don't understand any of this. Now, of course, JR is gonna use this to Pamela's detriment because he's a dickhead, and that's what he does. He's a big ass stunt queen. So they at Aunt Pam's house, Aunt Maggie's house. Aunt Maggie look in the lockbox. It ain't in there. And he was like, and Digger's like, I could have told you dummies it wasn't in there because I took it out. I have the papers upstairs. Probably soaked in liquor and not even legible anymore. But we gonna see what happens. Of course, Digger drunk ass done lost the paperwork. And Pam was, and she's like, now what am I gonna tell Bobby? And Cliff rightly says nothing. She's like, I can't do that. So don't tell him. She's like, don't tell him nothing till tomorrow when you go get the papers. He's like, no, you tell him your father has the papers. They around here somewhere. And he's steady picking. Talk about here's a picture of you when you was 3 months old. Nigga, who told you to take it out the lockbox? Doing the most. Old drunk ass. Child JR punk ass couldn't wait. So they was waiting around. It's dinner time. And they waiting for Pam to get her ass back to the house so everybody can have dinner. Why they couldn't have dinner without her, I don't know. But she pulls up and he's like, okay. And so the mama goes in to start getting the servants to set the table and shit for dinner for everybody. And JR was like, well, let me go and tell you this now. We had an interesting visitor, Edward Haynes. And what's this got to do with Pamela? Bobby is always on the defensive about his wife. And this nigga said, this man had the nerve, the audacity, the gall to say, oh, he was a veteran and your wife's a bigamist. Pick me up and carry me home, Jesus. Because I cannot. I can't and I will not. Do you hear me? I can't and I won't. Shout out to Bobby for standing 10 toes down behind his wife out and he ain't know nothing. Yes, he was like, they was like, and of course, Bobby, you knew about this. And he was like, yeah, Pam told me some years ago. Knowing that's a goddamn lie. Pam ain't told him shit. She was going to come and tell him tonight because she had gotten busted. Shut up. See, they don't make husbands like, you stand 10 toes down. Y'all can discuss whatever behind the scenes. But in front of this, we are united front. What you're not going to do is run over my wife with this bullshit. Poor Suella. She couldn't get that if she tried. Bobby said, he's like, you got the annulment papers? She's like, my dad had them. My dad found me 10 seconds after we said I do. That's why, I never even slept with this man. Our marriage was never consummated. That's why it was annulled. And he was like, you got the paperwork? And she was like, no. But he's like, oh my God. She's like, it's filed down at the records office. Me and my brother are going to go down there tomorrow and get them. He's like, no. The three of us are going down there tomorrow to get the paperwork. And she was like, Bobby, it's not necessary. He said, what the fuck? If this is true, then you may not be my wife. And I don't like that at all. Bobby said, oh no, this my cooch. Well, we not finna do that. Not that. That we're not. Number one thing we're not gonna do? That. So the three of us will be down there to get the paperwork in the morning. All right, so they get down to the records office. The records office like we don't know, ain't no, ain't no records, ain't none, daughter. What you mean ain't none? It's got to be out here. What you talking about? So they say there are four copies. One went to Ed Haynes, one went to Digger, one was supposed to be filed at the courthouse. Where's the fourth copy? Digger's lawyer. Digger's lawyer is dead. So all of his paperwork went to his secretary, so who lives in Fort Worth. And now Cliff is going to take his ass to Fort Worth to go get the paperwork. Now Bobby is about to storm off, talk about he need to go talk to somebody. My money is on that he's finna try and beat the shit out of Ed Haynes and tell him that's not his wife. I'm waiting on it. We gonna see. Well, that didn't go as planned. Bobby tried to bribe the man. The man said, "No, the wife is not a car that you could just. It's not how this works." And then Bobby was about to bust him in his face. He was like, "Go ahead. I'm sure the newspapers would love that." Child, if y'all don't find these annulment papers so this man can go away and get his life together. Not the man being an absolute grifter. Talk about he done stumbled onto something and he planned to get $100,000 out, and he done got the paper in Fort Worth and threw it at the bottom of a lake, and the clerk at the courthouse is in on it too. Talking about he gonna get $100,000 out of this. Jail immediately. Immediately. Side note, um, this part is irrelevant because they missed dinner. They still talked about how the church people is gonna be upset that he's a bigamist, that he's married to a bigamist, and they don't want them building the church fund, and they judgmental, all that good stuff. Lucy, can you not throw your underage cooch at everybody that you come across? Talk about some. Ooh, are you Pam's brother? Not bad. Sit your fast ass down. Something to fuck with. Okay. Okay. So the Barnes family and Bobby are meeting, trying to figure out what is their next step. They're gonna have to get her attorney because none of the paperwork can be found. And so Pam is like, she don't know what she's gonna do. Bobby has to go somewhere to meet the reverend about the building a school. So Pam calls Ed to meet her, and Daddy said, "Take me over to that boy's house, to where that boy at." He's like, I hate her being married to Bobby. What I'm not gonna do is allow my daughter to suffer through it because that's a real parent. Even though he hates the Ewings, the fiber of his core, he loves his daughter more than he hates them. And so he's like, "Oh no, I'm gonna talk to this nigga. He gonna talk to me," not knowing that that man tricked him when he was drunk. So when they see each other, uh, Cliff doesn't recognize him because he was drunk, and but Miss Digger Barnes was sober when they met. When they met at the hotel this time, and he was like, "You leave my daughter alone," and he was like, "Get off me, you old drunk." And Digger said, "I'm not drunk." Now that's gonna play a very important part to all of this, cause if you ain't seen this man in 10 years, what you know about him being drunk? Hmm? You drunk your way into that man's house and stole the annulment papers. Watch what I tell you. And he's stupid enough to keep the fucking papers in that goddamn hotel room. All right, so it brings back. So of course, immediately, uh, Cliff was like, "Why would he call you a drunk, Daddy?" He's like, "I don't know." It's like if he's never seen you drunk, why would he call you a drunk? Bet. So they go. So the church people is telling Bobby, "Your wife got a scandal. We just can't have that. And so you're not gonna be able to do the project." And he was like, and just as he was about to tell them they could take their plans and shove it up, Digger walked in and saved him. And it was like, it's about the annulment papers. And he told him the man was over at his house and he was showing him pictures out of his cigar box he stole it while he was drunk. He was like, "Well, if that's the case, then there has to be a copy on file downtown. Let's go talk back to that clerk, Mr. Riddlin, who's in cahoots with Ed Haynes. He gonna spill the beans because he's soft as tissue paper." But I digress. Now Pam is about to meet with Ed Haynes. This gonna go left. Not Pam playing And the fiddle talk about some get me out of Dallas. I'ma come to you tonight. He's like they kicked me out of the family with no money and no nothing. And he's like, what? So you go, what? And then Bobby done went and Cliff done went down to the clerk's office and told the boy that's in cahoots with Ed, clearly you don't understand how things go here. Don't you know that you can go for miles and miles without seeing a soul, no water, nothing but dirt? He's like, are you threatening me? He's like, no, I'm just letting you know that a man out there alone could never be heard from again. Child, if you don't tell them people what that annulment papers. Not Ed took off because he didn't want to. He didn't really want to have to deal with Pam and have to take care of her because he was a broke ass bitch and he was just after. Because when Cliff Barnes and Bobby got back to that hotel, my man was gone. And so we ended family dinner and they talk about, well, he was just gone when we got there. I don't know what happened. And then JR talk about, did you have to, why was Digger Barnes sleep on my sofa? He was like, well, I couldn't just leave him in there with Sue Ellen's church people. Also, Bobby got the contract from the church people. And everybody started laughing, and that's how the episode ended. Child, the foolishness. Foolishness and shenanigans. It wasn't all of them getting that damn annulment papers. It was Pam be like, take me with you. Let's run away together. And he was like, but I ain't got no money. You gonna have to take care of us. He was like, oh no. No, I didn't sign. I just came to get the money. I don't actually want you. I'm just here for. Listen, child, the foolishness. This has been my recap. Dallas season 1, episode 11. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a candidate. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.